everybody, this is Melanie. Welcome back to Crafting Chaos with Melanie. I hope everybody's doing good today. In today's video, we are going to start our Marry Me album, our mini album. This is going to be several videos, so I hope you enjoy it. I hope that I do this okay. I'll be honest, this is the biggest project that I've done on camera. Now, I've done a lot of these off camera, but I've decided to bring you along with me. I'm doing this for my niece. She got married in January, and when this paper pack came out back in the fall, I believe, I knew I had to have it because it was her colors. It matched it perfect. This is Echo Park, right? Marry Me collection by Lori Whitlock. I did get two of these collections as well as two paper packs, two of the coordinating cardstock packs. So we'll see how far that takes us. This is going to be a big album. Now I'm working with another one off screen to kind of play around and decide what I want to do. Let me show you that really quick. That way you can get an idea of how big this album is going to be. This is a big one. I hope you can see that. Yeah, this is a big album. Now this is coffee stain paper. I know it looks like but trust me, it looks beautiful when we get done. I do this a lot, and I learned this from Genevieve Designs. She uses a lot of coffee stain paper, and this is a beach theme, so this is completely different theme. However, maybe some of the page setups will be the same. I'm working on them now. The one thing with Mente, the paper collection is not designed like Echo Park and even Simple Stories as far as cut aparts and everything. Mente, you get one sheet of cut aparts, and they're 3x4 generally. I have yet to see a Mente collection that has smaller or larger cut aparts. So in this book, we're definitely going to be utilizing a lot of the cut aparts in flips and stuff. I love doing that. Okay, so what you're going to need in today's video, we are going to make the covers. I'm going to go slow and just go with the flow. I'm sure it won't be perfect, but, you know, let's see what we can do. So what are we going to need? Let me get my handy dandy sheet here. You're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard cut at 8.5 by 10.5. And then you're going to need 1 piece of chipboard cut at 2.5 by 10.5. Okay. The chipboard I'm using is medium weight chipboard. It's thicker. Okay. I've already cut and covered one to save a little bit of time. But if you don't have chipboard, you can take cereal boxes and, you know, layer them up. You can use Amazon boxes. There's so much you can use. So use what you have, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But what I'm using is medium weight chipboard. I will link this below. And one thing, when you do cut the chipboard, you want to make sure you have a stiff side and a bendy side, right? Do you see that? That's bendy and that's stiff. The stiff side, you want it to go across. You want it to be like the, I guess the landscape of the album, right? No, portrait of the album. You want it this way. You don't want it that way. Does that make sense? So on this album, when you cut it, you want to cut your 8.5 down the stiff side. Okay. All right. We're going to be using white cardstock today. We're not using coffee stain paper, and I did this size because I maxed out the 12 by 12 paper without having to glue 12 by 12 paper together. Okay. All right, so this is what I like to do. I like to get my scoreboard and bring my scoreboard in and take a piece of my paper that I'm going to be using, right? And I'm going to take this, and we're going to take all this off. And this one overlapped a little bit, so let's do this one first. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult to get off. Yeah. I screwed that one up. I knew that was going to be a little bit more difficult. So we're going to take all this off. Now I'm using sticky tape, and I'm out of my wider sticky tape, so I had to use what I had. I recommend sticky tape adhesive on doing your covers because you want full contact. You want this cover to be adhered to every bit of that cardstock. Now, I have used Fabri-Tac before, and we'll probably be using Fabri-Tac some. But I always come back to sticky tape for the covers. I just think the covers is better. I mean, if you want to use your liquid tape or your liquid glue, go ahead. Just make sure that you cover it. You really cover this chipboard. All right, so let's take all these off. All right. Now, we're going to bud this up right against the white cardstock. Sorry, I've got paper here because my cutting mat is so dirty. Make sure I don't screw this up. All right, so what I do is I take this and I try to center this. And it's really important that you center this as best you can with this particular one, because we don't have a lot of room. We don't have a lot of room to play with. And something else that I do before I take it out, this is 10.5, so I'm going to come over here to the 9.5, and I'm just going to make a little mark. And I do that so I can trim the paper. It's just the easiest way to trim the paper. Now, let's take this out. We're done with that scoreboard for now. And now we're going to burnish this really good. We want to make sure... You want to make sure that this is glued down. It frayed a little bit. Now remember, the chipboard pieces are 8.5 by 10.5. And these are for the cover. So you have two 8.5 by 10.5. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to trim that inch off. And I'm just going to come in here and trim that off. Put this over here in my little scrap. Okay. Now, what I like to do is I like to come down and just work the paper a little bit. Kind of breaking up those fibers so it can bend up. Alright, so now we're going to come in here with our sticky tape. As always, what I'm using, if I find it, I will link it below. And there is a video out already on the products that I'm using for this. So I will link that below as well. So all I'm doing is coming through here. Now here is a good place. If you wanted to use liquid glue, you could use liquid glue here. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I do use some liquid glue here. You'll see that in just a minute. But I like, again, to use sticky tape here. Okay. And we're going to burnish that really good. Now, we're going to take this, we're going to bend it. We're breaking those fibers. Loosen that paper. Now, we need to miter these edges, and let me show you what we're going to do. There's two ways you can do this. You could take your chipboard, and I had saw Francis from Your Book of Memories do this, and I thought it was genius, and I don't have scraps handy. Take the chipboard you're using and put two of them together and butt it up against that. Draw a line. You could do that. I always like to leave about 1/8 of an inch. So I just come in here, guys, and I just trim it. Do you see that? And now I'm going to come in here and just go just a little bit more. Yeah, I about got that one too close, but that's okay. I'll show you a trick to fix that. That's okay. And now we're going to come in here. I definitely didn't get that one. No, that's still a little bit. So I'm just going to come in here like that. Okay. This one's going to be close. I guess you're going to see what happens when you get too close. I got too close on that one. I can already tell. But that's okay. I can use book covers to cover it. See, this is what we're doing. We're doing this right here. And see, I got these perfectly covered. These are perfect. Of course, I turn on the camera and I mess it up. But that's okay. you know what? Not going to stress about it, right? All right, this is a little bit thicker, so I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit more tape right on this side, because this one was the one we cut, so it's a little bit more to play with. Now, this is what I like to do here. I always start with my longest, right? And I like to bring in my art glitter glue, and I like to just put some glue up against the chipboard, right up against that chipboard, right? And then we're going to take our pokey tool. I got this pokey tool from Unique Creations, I think, and oh my gosh, I love it. It goes right up under that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bend this up, making contact with that liquid glue, and then we're going to just flatten this out really good. And then we're going to take our stylus, our bone folder, and we're going to burnish that. Now let's come in here, and what we want to do is work the paper over. Now this is the side that I got too close, so this is a do as I say, not as I do. But you know, when we're done with this album, I'll show you how we can fix that. It's really not that big of a deal. Like, it's not going to be, I'll worry about it more than Melody will worry about it for sure. Alright. Okay, let me show you here. Do you see that? I'm just going to be completely, see that right there where you can see that little bit? I'm going to see if I can. We'll see. Alright, now we're going to come down here and we're going to work this one. Well, you'll have one side of what it's supposed to look like, and then you'll have one side of what not to do, right? Alright, so now we're going to work that, and then see that. What I will do with this one is when we get done with the book, I may go in with book plates and cover it up. So, alright, so we're done with that. So now let me show you really quick something else we're going to do. We are going to ink the edges. Now I like to do this because if there's any imperfections, it really helps getting those imperfections covered. Right? And this is white. Now, and I normally don't use stark white for any books. And I just don't want it to be stark white. So, we're just going to go through and just ink these edges ever so slightly. See how I got that dirty, but that's okay because that will be covered by paper. Alright, let's go ahead and do this back side. Alright, now, let's bring in the spine. So what I did on the spine is 2.5 by 10.5, and I cut out a piece of white cardstock at 12 inches by 4.5. Okay, let's see here. This is, yeah, this is 4.5 by 12, and then right up against the card chipboard right here, I put 1/4 of an inch score tape. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we are going to glue this like this. I'm so sorry. I'm having issues with my allergies really bad. That's why I'm late recording. But anyway, got strangled. So what we need to do is put tape on the outside cover up against the raw edge. All right, so I'm using a 1/2 inch double stick tape again. And we're going to do the same. We're going to take it and put it up against that raw edge. Make sure it's your raw edge, but we're putting the tape on the pretty side of the raw edge. Okay. This is a place that you could use wet glue. Now, I am going to get my T-ruler out. There's my small one. I don't know where my big one is. You know, it amazes me how I lose things. It really, really does. Okay, so let's take this off. And let me show you what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to bring this in. And what I do is I bring my T-ruler here. And I do that because it gives me a place to bud this up against to make sure that I have it level with the spine. All the pieces are going to go exactly where they're supposed to go. And I messed up already. Got to take this off. Now, we're not sticking anything to this tape. This tape is a guide. We're not sticking anything to it right now. Just like taking that off. The other side we'll leave on. Okay, so we got that. You know, oh, I don't know why I'm so nervous with you guys. Seriously. All right, can you see that? Let me make sure I'm in screen. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so let's put that there. Now we're going to take the raw edge where we put the tape, pretty side down, and we're going to butt it up against to the start of that 1/4 inch tape all the way down. Just like that. Look how easy. And by doing that, you know that you're leveled up, you're even, all the way down and up, and you got the exact measurement here that you're supposed to have. Okay? So now, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to take the double stick tape off here. I'm going to take my T-ruler. Guys, if you don't have a T-ruler, I'm going to link one from Amazon down here. Get one. As a matter of fact, I think the one I got came with 2. And I've got a larger one that does the 12 by 12 really easy. And I had it out with my other album, and I think I put it in the container. So, that's even. So, what I want to do is I want to come over here, and I want to do the same thing. Okay? Let's do the same thing as we did. Alright, so we're butting up against that, up against this double stick tape. Voila. Now if you notice, I just left that there just to show you you can leave it. Just don't forget to take it off here in a minute. Okay. Alright, now let's start working this a little bit. Let's start working this. And look, you've got your... Isn't that good? Now this cardstock I'm using is 65-pound weight cardstock from Michaels. Now what we need to do is we need to take this up. Okay, and we're going to do this the exact same way as we did the... We're going to put some tape here. Double stick tape. Let me clean up just a little bit. Alright. Well, shoot, I messed that up. Do this side. Okay. I'm going to take my art glitter glue and just put a little bit. Now when I do this one, I'm skipping that part. I'm only putting it on the edges. Like I'm not putting any here or here. Now we're going to take this and we're just going to bend this up. Same here. Putting a little bit of glue here and here. And we're going to this up. Now, we're going to burnish this really good. Now let's start working this. The key to a spine is working the spine, working the fibers of the paper, and making sure you have enough space between the spine and your chipboard. That if you put that chipboard right up against this, it's going to crack because it doesn't have any room to move. Alright, so let's see how we did on that. Haha, look at that. Perfect. Alright, let's we're going to do this. And we're going to do this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do down the sides. And I'm going to go ahead and do down the sides. Alright, there you go. And just like that, you've got your book. Now, let's do the spine. All right, get you a piece of 12 by 12 paper. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this paper down. So I'm going to take an inch off because I know that it's 12. By 10 1/4. Now, I don't like doing my pages the exact height of the album. I never have. I just don't. I like having a little bit of room because let's be honest, getting everything lined up exactly, this is handmade. So 9 times out of 10, it's just not going to be exact. So I like giving myself a little bit of leeway. All right, so now we're going to get your scoreboard out and you're going to put this on the 11-inch side. And you're going to get your scoring tool. Okay? And I will type this out for you as well, but if you want to take a screenshot, oh goodness. If you want to take a screenshot, right here it is. The spine is going to be 11 by 10 1/4. And we're going to score at 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 3/8, 3 7/8, 4 3/8, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 6 5/8, 7 1/8, 7 1/2, 8 and 8 1/2. Now, I didn't come up with these measurements on my own. I have watched a mini album from Project 39 years ago. It's been years ago. And in my notes, I had wrote down Project 39. I can't believe that I actually kept up with that video, but I did. So I do want to say that the spine is 100% her measurements. Now, as far as the scoring, as far as the height and all that, that's different, but I did take her scoring. And I will link her video below on that because she did a really good job of explaining it as well. All right, so get your scoring tool, and what I will say, whatever scoring tool that you start out using, use that same scoring tool throughout the process of this mini album. It does make a difference. If I use this scoring tool to do this hinge, and then when I get out my pages and I start doing my pages and I use this scoring tool or this end of the scoring tool, it's different. And it's going to make it line up different. And it took me a while to learn that because it would be off, and I'm notorious for grabbing different tools. Because I'll lay one down, forget where it is, yada, yada, yada. But I highly recommend that whatever you start out with, see, I have multiple scoring tools. You see that? So I'm going with this one, with this end right here. But it doesn't matter, but what I'm using, it's what you're using. And make sure that you use the same scoring tool when you do this and your pages. It makes a difference. Okay, so we're going to score at 2, 2.5, at 3, 3 3/8. I gotta get in here, guys. 3 3/8, 3 7/8, 4 3/8, 4 3/4, 4 wait a minute, 4 3/8, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, 5 3/4, 6 1/8, 6 5/8, 6 5/8, 7 1/8, 7 1/2, 8, 8 1/2. Okay. All right. Now, let me show you what we got here. This is going to be hard to see. What we have is our spine. This is going to be our hinge system. So what we have is hinge, hinge, gusset, hinge, hinge, gusset, hinge, hinge, gusset, hinge, hinge, gusset. So what we're making is this right here. This is what we're making. We're making this so you can put your pages on it, and it's going to be 5 pages. Okay, so this is what we're doing. All right, so what I want you to do is flip it over to the bumpy side, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to score the hinges. So this is a hinge. Hinge, 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 gusset. Hinge, hinge, gusset, right? So another thing you can do is number them. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So your 1s and 2s are your hinges. Hinge, hinge, gusset. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold, we're going to score the hinges, all right? So we're going to score those. Wait a minute. I think we're going to score it, yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to take the 1s and the 2s and we're going to score that one. So what you're doing is you're scoring in between your hinges, right? Your 2 larger score marks, your 1 and your 2. All right, so let's do that again. I know this is hard to see. This part's hard to see, guys. I know it is. So you got your hinge, your hinge, your hinge, your hinge, your hinge. So let's find the hinge again right here. Right? Nope, scored that one wrong. See, I can't see because I'm not getting in there. And then, okay. Flip this back around. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull this. Look, watch this. I'm going to pull this to me. see that? We're going to take this one. We're going to do the same thing. And we're going to take this one. And then we're going to take this one. Okay. There you go. We have it. Do you see that? All right, so let's flip this back around. Looking at our numbers, our 1, 2, 3, we're going to put tape on the 2s. Okay? Let's see here. We're going to come down through here, and on all your 2s, I'm going to put tape. Now, you could use liquid tape here, okay? Or liquid glue here, and I am pulling in some liquid glue. So you're putting adhesive on your 2s. Now, let's take this off. Take that one off. We're going to flip this over. Actually, let's put a little bit of glue on here. Not a lot, I just want a little bit because I didn't have the right size glue. Alright, so now we're going to take this and we're going to glue this. Look at that. Okay, we're going to come back here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our glue off. We're going to put a little bit of liquid glue here. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to bring that hinge up. You see that? See that? All right, we're going to come here. Put a little bit of glue. And we're going to glue this one. Okay. We're going to do this. Oops, I got the wrong pokey tool. We're going to take this off. And oops. All right, now we got the last one. Oops. Let's put a little bit of glue. All right. Now we're going to pull this up. Maybe. So I'm going to show you something really quick. I learned the number system with Lisa Wise Designs. I had bought a mini album class from her years ago. And I just actually did a walkthrough of my 3rd yearly album using that tutorial. And she numbers the hinges, and it's genius. So when you're done gluing, all you have left are your 3s. You see that? Isn't that cool? All right, so we want to make sure this is bendable, pliable, and we're going to ink them. Obviously, this inking is just preference. I got hooked on it. It's very few albums I ever make that I don't ink. Now, I'm going to go ahead and ink these. I don't know that you're even going to see them, but we're going to go ahead and ink them a little bit anyway. Okay, so now what are we going to do with this? We are going to put this in the album. So let's bring our album back over. Right? Now remember, this is a little bit shorter. You see that? You just want to make sure you get this to where you're in between the spine, and we are exactly in between the spine. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover this in tape. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to use some liquid glue here. I am going to put over, and I'm going to do the same. Now one side's a little bit longer than the other one. We could have trimmed that off and I didn't think about it. I'll show you what I mean. Well, you can tell by me putting the glue on, or the tape on. Why do I keep calling this glue? I mean, it is glue. It's just tape. Tape glue, right? All right. Okay. So see, this side's a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter. All right, so now we're going to come in here with this tape and just put it right on the inside of your hinge. This is the most difficult part of this album. When you learn how to do this, it's so easy. You just got to get the hang of it. So if you're watching this for the first time and I just confused the heck out of you, just pause it, rewatch it, and rewatch it. That's what I did, how I learned. Watch Project 39's video. She does a good job as well. And you just got to learn. It's all about, you feel it. Like, I don't know the exact words. Once you learn how to do this method, once you learn how to do these hinges, it comes as second nature. Like you get so good at it. And you know the feel of the paper, you know how you fold it. It just comes with practice. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's take all these off. Look, I got something right there. Ain't gonna matter. Now I'm gonna take my art glitter glue, and I'm actually gonna come down just a little bit on this because it gives me time to move around if I need to. Okay, so I'm going to stand up for this. So the key to this is making sure you get it between your spine evenly. Okay, so I think it's going to be about right there. Yes. Okay. And now we're going to burnish this down really good. I got some glue right there. Don't know how I did that. You know, the key to making a mini album is taking your time on the cover. This is the foundation of your album. And if you will take the time to do this cover and, you know, take the time to press everything down. Take the time to get all your scoring the way it should be. Take the time to, you know, bend it and get the fibers going in the paper so you don't split your spine. Okay, so now we have to do that again. We have to work the spine. So let's find our spine right here, and we're going to find our spine right here, and we're going to work it. We're just going to slowly bring that up, and we're going to do the same over here, slowly bringing that up, and there you go. No splitting. Absolutely no splitting at all. I would say the only thing I messed up on is that one little corner. And guys, that is just not even, I'm not going to worry about it. I have photo corners I can use there, like album corners, and that's what I'll do. If it bothers me that bad, there's always a way to fix it. Don't start over unless, you know, if it's the imperfection is just driving you crazy. I've learned to let go on a lot of it. All right, guys, that is all we're going to do today. Tomorrow, we're going to pick back up and do all the pages. We're going to get the pages in the album and get the page designs going. All right, this is going to be so big. What do you think? Are you excited? I'm excited. All right, remember to give me a like and a thumbs up. And the products that I used here, if I can find them, I will link them. And you can just hit the links below. Okay, if you got any questions, leave them below for me. I'll be happy to answer them. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.